Welcome to Study Session 7, Relationship of Information Science to the Sister Disciplines. Introduction. The theoretical core of information science is a synthesis of many subjects. Presently, however, 3 disciplines appear more closely coupled with information science than the others, hence they are often referred to as sister disciplines. These are, in alphabetical order, communication arts, computer science, and library science. Information science is a modern-day attempt to synthesize general knowledge on information processes from these 3 more specialized information disciplines and others. Learning outcomes. At the end of this study session, you should be able to explain the relationship between information science and communication arts, highlight on the relationship between information science and library science, relations between library science, information science, and LIS. Information science and communication arts. Communication arts focus on the effective communication of information symbols in different settings. Forms of communication also vary from the non-verbal to the oral to the written. Communication arts focus on the real-time transfer of information symbols over personal, social, and terrestrial space, and on telecommunication media and channels. However, emphasis has generally been on communication processes dominated by human behavior. Communication arts integrates knowledge from a wide range of arts and humanities disciplines, philosophy, linguistics, and so on, as well as some social science disciplines, in particular psychology and sociology. Traditionally, the focus of communication arts had been on the development, application, and social use of language and other communication symbols and techniques to achieve specific effects in different contexts, and on the effective elicitation and dissemination of information. Thus, in comparison with other information disciplines, communication arts have been generally weaker in their orientation towards information storage and retrieval processes in the information life cycle. Information science and computer science. Many people often consider information science to be synonymous with computer science, which is not correct. Computer science is concerned with developing and applying electromechanical means, equipment, software, procedures to the production, storage, retrieval, dissemination, communication, and use of information. In contrast, information science is concerned with the same information processes, but from all perspectives, electromechanical, human, and documentary, and others. Clearly, the aims of both information science and computer science overlap substantially. Rapid developments in computer and related technologies have been transforming the ways in which human societies are creating, handling, communicating, and using information. Indeed, there is hardly any aspect of human information and communication processes that have not been influenced or transformed by these developments. Nevertheless, electromechanical information systems are and would most likely remain but a subset of human information and communication systems in general. Whereas computer science, in conjunction with the electronic and electrical sciences, focuses on creating and developing new and more efficient computer hardware and software technologies for processing, storing, and transferring information. The focus of information science is more on utilizing and evaluating the appropriateness of alternative, electromechanical, human documentary, and so on, approaches to human information and communication processes in different social settings. Thus, information science helps to provide feedback to the computer and electronic sciences on the practical relevance and usefulness of electromechanical technologies in human information activities, thereby informing the development of improved technologies. The information scientist is interested in all the activities in the life cycle of information, from the information definition through usage until its eventual disposal. That is, the information scientists start their roles in the information life cycle before the computer scientists come in, and they, information scientists, are also interested in what happens after information might have been processed and disseminated. In information science, computers are used as tools in the processing, organization, storage, and retrieval, as well as dissemination of information. Computer scientists make processing and handling of information easier and faster through hardware and software uses. Information scientists are also interested in hardware and software uses, but go a step further to evaluate what happens to data or information after they might have been disseminated to end users. Information science and library science. Information science has its antecedents in library science, largely because until the computer revolution of the post-World War II era, the most enduring media for social communication was a paper document, and libraries and archives had for centuries been serving society as the repositories for such communication artifacts. Librarians, archivists, and curators were the first information specialists to practice and experiment with the fundamental principles of information science, albeit within the context of libraries, archives, and museums. For example, although the theory of subject classification is rooted in philosophy, it was in the library that it found extensive practical application, testing, evaluation, and development. Efficiently storing and retrieving information in documents has been library science's traditional area of strength, from which other information disciplines have been benefiting and could even further benefit. Library science deals with organization of knowledge, the classification, storage, and retrieval of knowledge. Librarianship deals with the application and practice of library science. Library scientists deal with recorded information, but information scientists are concerned with information in whatever form. Library science deals with finished information products in the confines of the library, while information science deals with the phenomenon called information. Library science also deals mainly with document retrieval systems, but information science equally has aspects bordering on document retrieval system. Librarians equally engage in designing management information systems, but within the confines of the library. But information science cuts across other areas, like designing a system for geologists, bankers, lawyers, educationists, and so on. Document retrieval systems are another concern of library scientists, but information science goes beyond that. For example, expert systems, design and management of numeric databases, and so on. Nevertheless, information science equally borrows some ideas from library science, like classification. This is called clustering in information science. Also, indexing and abstracting are other aspects borrowed. Information science borrows heavily from the practical experimental knowledge, especially of information storage and retrieval over the centuries. It was no accident that information science began as documentation science. However, information science has been able to break away from the narrower and more specialized library context of library science by integrating knowledge from both computer science and communication arts. The proceeding must not be construed to imply the superiority of one discipline to the other, but that there are inherent advantages and limitations in the respective broader and narrower focus of information science and library science. Relations between library science, information science, and LIS. The common ground between library science and information science, which is a strong one, is in the sharing of their social role and in their general concern with the problems of effective utilization of graphic records, but there are also very significant differences in several critical respects, Among them are 1. Selection of problems addressed and in the way they were defined. 2. Theoretical questions asked and frameworks established. 3. The nature and degree of experimentation and empirical development and the resulting practical knowledge and competencies derived. 4. Tools and approaches used. 5. The nature and strength of interdisciplinary relations established and the dependence of the progress and evolution of interdisciplinary approaches. All of these differences warrant the conclusion that librarianship and information science are two different fields in a strong interdisciplinary relation, rather than one and the same field, or one being a special case of the other. Summary. In this study session, you have learned the following. 1. Information science and communication arts. Communication arts focus on the effective communication of information symbols in different settings. Forms of communication also vary from the non-verbal to the oral to the written. Communication arts focus on the real-time transfer of information symbols over personal, social, and terrestrial space, and on telecommunication media and channels. 2. Information science and library science. Information science has its antecedents in library science, largely because until the computer revolution of the World War II era, the most enduring media for social communication was the paper document, and libraries and archives had for centuries been serving society as repositories for such communication artifacts. 3. Relations between library science, information science, and LIS. Significant differences in several critical respects. Among them are selection of problems addressed and in the way they were defined, theoretical questions asked and frameworks established, the nature and degree of experimentation and empirical development, and the resulting practical knowledge and competencies derived, tools and approaches used, the nature and strength of interdisciplinary relations established and the dependence of the progress and evolution of interdisciplinary approaches. End of study session 7. Thanks for listening.